Thanks, Harry. A very good morning to all of you. It's a very interesting topic, not as interesting as the discussions which preceded us, but we'll try and make it as interesting as possible to our best of our efforts. Just to give a backdrop of where this subject is coming from, and I can only premise because we've been given this subject. The fact is that there's certain facts on the table that we've not had an ultra mega bid out since 2009. Probably the last ultra mega which was bid out was in 2009. We've not had a case one bidding until two of them happened in 2013 since 2010. So a 3-year hiatus in case one competitive bidding. We've not had a transmission project bid out since 2012. We had one in 2012. Before that, most of it happened in 2010. So there's been a lot of uncertainty around competitive bidding since probably 2010, 8, 9, 10, when there were the golden times for competitive bidding, and a lot of projects got bid out under the Section 63 guidelines, and MOP bringing out those guidelines quite transparently. So a lot of concerns have since arisen, and for valid reasons. A lot of them concerning fuel side issues, a lot of them concerning implementation issues which got discovered as the projects were implemented on the ground. Some of them to do with foreign jurisdiction issues like the Indonesian regulation which propped up, which is pretty well known now. CERC has a judgment on 2 contracts which affects those, and a host of other problems that's since cropped up. And that has really given concerns, given fuel to concerns that maybe the framework that was followed was not right, or we need to relook the framework in some other light. And the ministry is seized of that matter. We know that they're coming up with separate or at least revisions to the standard bidding documents which are awaited. And that's the background on which we're trying to relook at possibly the competitive bidding guidelines which are or the framework which has been in action in this country for the last, sure to say, 5 years, since it was promulgated in 2008. So I'll begin the session. We'll probably have 4 or 5 segments in which we'll try and discuss this. But just to take initial comments from the panel, we have a very, very able, very eclectic panel, mix of quite a few different backgrounds here. We have a state principal secretary, a very eminent person here in the panel. We have 2 fine legal minds, and we have somebody representing both, I'd say, a producer and a distributor, so he'll be able to speak on behalf of both. So it's a very good mix in the panel. Let's start by asking a fundamental question, because a lot of times we get asked this question in the power sector as to whether the competitive bidding framework has failed us, because in all honesty, it is something which is enshrined in the Act itself and the National Tariff Policy. A very important part of the National Tariff Policy is competitive bidding and transiting to competitive bidding for all kinds of procurement going forward, in generation and transmission in particular. Given that framework, I would like to start by asking the panelists whether we are trying to shoot the messenger. Are we getting the message wrong as to competitive bidding? Or is it that the stakeholders or the framework itself, the design of the framework, has been faulty? So just initial views. We'll get into specifics as we go along. We'll discuss that in segment. But your initial views on whether you've started feeling that the competitive bidding framework is all wrong, or is it that certain parts, maybe the stakeholders have not reacted to it properly, or is it that the framework, design of the framework in some parts have been faulty and that needs to be corrected?